Hello, Mrs. Hiru Bhajwani. Good evening. This is Principal Balbhati Noida.
Hello,
Hello.
Mrs. Prabhakar. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Good. And hello, Mr. Balagopal. I think your mic is off, sir.
Mic is off. It is, now it is on. Now it is on. Now it is on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Panel.
Okay.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, Vinod.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, this is Shailendra here.
Good evening, sir. How do you do, sir?
I'm fine. Looking forward to exciting conversation.
Same here, sir. Looking forward to very interesting deliberations on this day, and especially, when the NEP has come and we are talking about the literacy.
Yes. And today is International Literacy Day.
That's
Yes.
right.
I think the NEP has been very promising, and the much weighted thing has come with a breeze. And it's the greatest highlight of the COVID. I'm so proud of it. Thank you.
I think it's going to come with its own challenges. I would only accept the paper as of now. 70% is good and 30% I don't know how, what will be the action plan and how will the policy makers conceive, though we have given the suggestions to CBSE and MHRD, but waiting for the final paper to come.
I would like to give an analogy of the COVID right now, which is such a sad experience for everybody's life. But the way education is being transformed in the last 6 months is unbelievable. If you look at all the positives, it's surpassing all the negatives. Everything has transformed, right from the teachers, the children's outlook, the parents' collaboration, all of that is happening. Yes, the challenges are there, but that kind of partnership we were always hoping for, I think it's there right now. It's just for us to take it forward. You have all the ingredients to make a delicious dessert. I look at it very optimistically, honestly speaking. Yes, challenges exist and it'll always exist. Life is full of challenges, but that doesn't stop us from living a happy life.
I agree here, but I'm desperately waiting for the action plan, we've spent
Yes.
long hours in preparing the action plan and submitting it to the government, and I am waiting desperately that what the action plan finally comes for us for implementation.
I trust that the government will make very positive, responsible decisions, and which will be open-ended, which will allow a lot of flexibility on the hands of the schools to prove its efficacy as well as the ethical implementation of the program. My core worry is the ethical implementation of the program. If that's done, I think the government has done a great job of putting such a beautiful framework. And like you said, the implementation is very important, definitely.
And if you really want to make it successful, teacher in service education, we'll have to play, we have to pay a lot of attention there.
I think the focus is only that. That's exactly what's happening in the last 6 months. Teachers are working doubly hard over the weekends, upskilling themselves in their pedagogical understanding as well as the tools. And I think they have always, they shock me every day when I hear something new that they're doing. It's fantastic. I mean, I think it's now bringing all the ingredients and gluing it together. So the parents are alive, the teachers are alive, the administrations are ready. It just has to be glued together with open-heartedness and really an optimistic mind. Because this COVID doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Shall I join?
Yeah.
Yes, please. We've got 5 minutes before the session starts.
Session has not started officially. Session has not been started officially, I think.
Not at all. We are just having a conversation.
Okay, okay, very good. Then I will keep silence.
There are another 5 minutes to go for the session to start, sir.
Very good, very good. Who is
Hello,
the moderator?
Mamta.
Who is the moderator? Principal
The
is the
secretary
moderator. Sir.
got by 2 of my staff members. And sir, as we start, they shall be introducing themselves.
Where is Mamta? Mamta Mabu.
Mamta, turn on your microphone as well as your video so we can see you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
afternoon, sir.
Mamta.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Principal, you have to come forward. Your head is only seeing. We are seeing only your nose and eye. Principal ji, please adjust your computer so that we can see you in full size.
Oh,
Now we are seeing your head only.
okay.
Only nose and eyes and forehead. Kindly.
Is that fine, sir?
No, some more adjustment is required.
I think it's
See,
fine.
Hira is sitting very, very comfortable position. And she is very beautiful. Seems to be very beautiful.
I have my computer tilted in my room. So
Mrs. Prabhakar, you're just fine.
Please advance it. Please advance it. Your laptop may be advanced to your nearer face.
I'm not
Now,
logged
lot of space.
a laptop. It's a desktop
yes.
which cannot be moved, sir.
Or
My
desktop also. Then please adjust your seat. Please adjust your seat so that your full face can be viewed. Adjust your seat.
Fine,
come
sir.
Forward. You come forward, please.
I think she's fine.
And now,
You're
now
looking-
is more not even fine. Only 50%.
That's okay. We have to make do with the best of what we have.
Yes. With the best environment, you have to go ahead.
It's such a lovely opportunity. Hello, Marina.
A very warm good evening and my heartfelt greetings to everyone. I, Mrs. Rumpa Bhattacharya, welcome you all on behalf of the school to this panel discussion organized by Bal Bharti Public School, Noida, on the occasion of International Literacy Day. Since 1967, International Literacy Day is celebrated annually around the world to remind the public of the importance of literacy as a matter of dignity, human rights, and to advance the literacy agenda towards a more literate and sustainable society. Despite progress made, literacy challenges persist with at least 773 million adults and children worldwide lacking basic literacy skills today. This year, International Literacy Day is focusing on literacy teaching and learning in the COVID 19 crisis and beyond, with a focus on the role of educators and changing pedagogies.
Joining us today are some eminent guests from different spheres and stratum of the education field across the globe. We have the proud privilege of introducing our esteemed panelists. Mr. Shailendra Sharma is the advisor to Director Education, Government of NCT, India. He is also a member of advisory groups and committees of the government to recommend measures for improving literacy. Our next panelist, Mr. Bala Gopal, is the CEO and Vice Chairman of P.N. Panikkar Vigyan Vikas Kendra, Kerala. He has worked as an editor and publisher for several recognized books, children's magazines, and encyclopedias.
Ms. Hiru Bhojwani is currently the K-12 librarian, information curator, and coach at the American School of Bombay in Mumbai, India, and has worked in implementing 21st century literacy skill. We also have Miss Marina Maverick, who is a school librarian in Croatia with over 15 years of experience in school librarianship. We also have our principal, Mrs. Asha Prabhakar, the host for today's deliberations. We also welcome our respective principals from our sister schools and principals from NPSC schools to today's webinar. We welcome you all once again.
Our school has always been a pioneer in working on issues. So, on this occasion of International Literacy Day, Bal Bharati's Young Brigade is presenting a short video highlighting their views and efforts on strengthening literacy. Over to the video.
It is rightly said, a child who reads will be an adult who thinks. On the World Literacy Day, we the young minds feel that it is time to bridge the gap and build a literate world. Facts state that approximately 58 million children over the world remain out of school as they are victims of poverty and need to work for their families. Despite the Millennium Development Goals, this disparity is alarming. Children do not gain literacy, leave alone education. Small step needs to be taken where the Young Brigade must encourage and initiate new projects. Bal Bharati Public School Noida believes in the maxim of each one, teach one. Through a plethora of enthusiastic activities, the motivated students extend their wholehearted support to impart education, believing that the journey of life starts with the turning of a page. The learners wish that the Article 25A doesn't remain only in black and white, but is brought into practice. The shapers of the future world thus takes this pledge. To learn the alphabets shapes life with a better bet. To learn to calculate and save them from those who manipulate. To help all think out of the box. To hold and understand meaningful talks. Let's hold hands and gain digital education to fetch a better tomorrow and establish the name to gather fame, to serve humanity, to live a life of dignity.
Educate that beautiful mind of yours. Don't just be a literate, but focus on those aspects of education which teaches you practical knowledge, that how to make a living, and another one which teaches you how to live a life.
Builds self-esteem and changes overall quality of life. Literacy is the first step towards freedom and liberation from social and economical states, so wisely said by UNESCO Director General Audrey Azoulay.
Better future.
Ability to read and write.
Empowerment.
Self-growth.
Awareness.
I hope the technical glitches didn't come in the way of enjoying the video. After watching the video, I cannot help but quote these beautiful lines by the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kofi Annan. Acquiring literacy is an empowering process, enabling millions to enjoy access to knowledge and information.
That video, that video truly brings us to the harsh reality of the state of literacy and education in our country. Keeping that in mind, the theme of our panel discussion today is literacy teaching and learning in the COVID 19 crisis and beyond, with a focus on the role of educators and changing pedagogies. I invite our guest, Mr. Shailendra Sharma, to speak on an occasion like this.
Thank you, Rumpa. Thank you, Bal Bharti Public School, for inviting me to speak on this occasion. Asha ji, thank you so much. And this subject that you have chosen and the occasion that you have chosen today is very close to my heart, personally speaking, because this is an area where I have worked for the last 18 years and have kind of say developed some insight as to what are the challenges that we face. It might sound very simple that whenever there is a talk about literacy, there is also a counter argument that education is not just about literacy. Education is much beyond that. We all agree. But as a child in your video said, and there are other researchers that shows that literacy perhaps is the first building step in the course, in the journey of learning. And therefore, it is heartening when I see in the new education policy the concept of foundational literacy and numeracy getting due importance that we have been talking about for so long. So as a result, when the policy says that foundational literacy and numeracy is urgent and necessary prerequisite to learning, we couldn't agree more. That yes, indeed, that is the case, and therefore it is very important that this issue gets the importance that it deserves. And also, I must say that in the policy that we are talking about, very clearly, a chapter has been devoted on foundational literacy and numeracy, but it doesn't lose sight of higher order cognitive competencies also. It also doesn't lose sight of social, emotional, and ethical learning. So it's a combination of all the three that we actually look forward, and that is what makes the education policy, new education policy, complete in many sense. But as somebody, and you would agree, those of you who are working in this sector would agree, that the policy can give you a direction, policy can give you set the aspiration, and this policy has rightly set those aspirations. And today on the International Literacy Day, we are talking about it. It has set those aspirations, it has set those high ideals, it has set the vision for new India. But also we all know that it is contingent. The policy alone is not going to translate things into the change that it envisages. So apart from this policy, we would also perhaps need a very detailed plan of action. We will also need a lot of resources to translate some of those ideas into action. And that is what is going to be critical. Coming back to the issue of literacy that we started with, I must say that it's a big departure. The importance that foundational literacy and numeracy receives, it's a big departure from the way pedagogical discourse have been constructed in our country, I must say. There has been inherent assumption in the way the syllabus is organized, the curriculum laid down, that in the course of linear progression, the child would acquire those skills. And there was nothing in that course. If suppose that does not happen in the course of first few years of learning, what is it that the schools and the teachers should be doing to bring the child onto the learning trajectory. So that has been a missing component in the education practices that we have seen over the ages. And that is why we have seen so many children progressing to the higher grades without acquiring these foundational skills. All of us are familiar with ASER reports that we get almost every year, which says the proportion of children in different grades, their ability to even read a basic text. So for example, in grade 5 also, you would see nearly 50% children not being able to read a text which they are supposed. Sorry for the little disturbance. इसको बंद कर दीजिए इसको. Thank you. So sorry.
Class 5.
Yeah.
You were mentioning class 5 children.
Yes, so that has been the situation in the country. And what amazed me was when we were looking at the reason, particularly in Delhi, finding out the reason. Shimona was working with us at that point in time when we were talking to teachers and trying to find out the reasons. Very often this no detention policy would come as a big culprit. The children moving to the next grade, higher grades, and not getting a chance to catch up. But what surprised me and was when we got the National Achievement Survey data in 2018 early, and what we saw was across the country, Delhi more so, the children in grade 3 also were, I mean, nearly half the children were not at the grade appropriate level that they were supposed to. And that led us to question internally that why is it that so early in the life, so many children are getting left behind? What is the reason? I mean, you can't be saying that these children are not serious because they are too young to be non-serious or serious in that sense. Our teachers are good. So what is the missing link? And when we started closely scrutinizing the syllabus, the textbook, we found that perhaps the assumption with which those syllabus have been created, the assumption with which the textbooks have been created, if those assumptions do not hold in certain situations, for example, when we are getting so many children, particularly in the government schools from the first generation of school goers, what kind of support mechanism should be there for the child in the early years? Those mechanisms, there was no answer to that. So as a result, what usually used to happen was once the child gets into the school, this child would move from the first grade to the next grade to the next grade. And if the children are getting left behind in those grades, there is nothing which the teacher in the subsequent grade would be able to do, because then she has to follow the curriculum of that particular grade to move with the children who are ready for that. So as a result, we were creating a huge backlog, and this was evident when you have in grade 5 nearly 50% children not being able to read a simple text. What are you going to do in grade 6? And we in Delhi government, we saw that happening very clearly when we looked at the grade 6, the children who were joining Delhi government schools from the municipal schools, and we found that nearly 75% children could not read a simple paragraph from their own textbook. Now, in such kind of situation, what is teacher supposed to do? What is the sanctity of the curriculum? What is the sanctity of the classroom processes? And there was a big question mark. Everybody would jump to blame probably the school or probably the teachers or probably children also, but nobody would blame that look at your design. Is it appropriate? Is it suited for the context that we are talking about? So therefore, when we see a chapter on foundational literacy and numeracy in the new education policy, it gives a lot of hope that the timeline that is prescribed there, the importance that this subject is given is a huge, what you say, a step forward in the direction. But as somebody who has seen the policies over the years, I am also mindful of the fact that just by writing something in the document, it's not going to actually translate into actions. So the real battle actually starts from now. How do we take this document, start working piece by piece, allocate resources that are so very required to work on that, and translate this policy into action. But the silver lining is that at least there is an acknowledgement, at least there is a way forward, and building upon that, we can move forward. So I look at it with a lot of optimism, a lot of hope, and let us see how we translate that into action, where we have a situation where a child, after completing 5 or 8 years of schooling, should be able to fluently read any text that comes before her, should be able to express herself her mind freely, should be able to give her opinion on any piece that she reads or understands. That is something that we have to build for and work for, and I'm sure we'll be able to do that. Thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Shailendra, it was a delight to listen the insights which you gave us on NEP. But the first question which comes to my mind is that the word literacy and numeracy, you know, they are more or like, after the NEP came into action, they have become more or less like the buzzwords. The point here is, how will we translate this policy into action? We the progressive schools in Delhi, NCR, and the other metropolitan cities, we are quite good at turn the page and learn the job. We are very good in it. How about rural India? How will they learn the subtle nuances of this literacy and numeracy skill after the implementation of the NEP? And moreover, 70 years gone by, we are into playing those jingles, padega, likhega, bachcha tabhi to aage badhega India. 70 साल आजादी के बीत गए और हमें ये जिंगल्स बजानी पड़ती हैं. So what is the remedy to that?
Asha ji, I would say that about say 20 years back, we were asking similar question on whether we can actually put all our children into schools. But as we have seen that there was a concerted program by the government putting in resources for that, and we saw that today now nearly 96% children below 14 years are actually enrolled in a school. I'm using the word enrolled very consciously. So as a result, I would say, and I would repeat the same thing that I said earlier in my opening remarks, that policy per se is not going to translate into an outcome. There's a process between that. And how we structure that process, what kind of micro plan we prepare, what kind of resources we put in, that is going to determine whether we are successful or not. Policy has laid down the vision. Policy has said what we need to do, but somebody has got to do that. And that is going to be a critical factor. This will require pumping in resources. For example, if I were to talk about Delhi again, now a lot of things that happened in Delhi over the last 5 years was because of a very serious political will, and translating that political will into providing the necessary resources to actually do all kinds of things. So that is what is required. So I would say, to answer your question in 2 sentences, I would say that a detailed plan of action and supporting resources are going to be the key determinant on implementing not just foundational literacy and numeracy part of this policy, but any other provisions in the policy.
The micro plans, while they are being taken into consideration, there is no reality check, you know. So if we have a reality check on these micro plans, there will be a little success, you know, which we would like to achieve after the implementation of NEP, because we won't, as educationists, prefer that once again we have failed in the area of education, whereas we have the competency. Who says Indian children do not have the competency? I think we have the best brains in the world. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today, and it was a pleasure listening to you today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Ms. Maverick, I would like to ask you the next question. In comparison to other European countries bereft of the situation, Croatia is doing fine in the field of education. But I'm sure, ma'am, there are a lot of challenges. could you please throw some light on imparting the digital literacy with reference to response of children and issues raised by parents?
Yes, hello, and thank you for your question. Croatia is the part of European Union for more than 7 years, and we had some basic and critical curriculum reforms in recent years regarding reading literacy and all other literacies like information literacies, developing critical thinking, and other important knowledge-based activities. So our plan was to develop the national strategy for encouraging reading, and in 2017 that document was revised, and there were some goals that should be achieved by that document, like developing digital repositories with free content, development of library infrastructures for e-book lending, internet portal publishing, elaboration of future national foundation to promote reading. And the groups that should be primarily affected are children of preschool and school age, primarily through education of their parents and cooperation with educators and teachers. And in the fight for more literature and educated citizens, it is decided the most important part is to emphasize that school reform and work on better cooperation between institutions, professionals and parents or guardians should be primary goals. And our government is using their funds to help achieve that. So we still must invest in open and distance learning opportunities, assist teachers in finding new ways to reach out to those lacking basic literacy skill, and provide adequate funding to ensure that skilled teachers are able to support their learners until they are able to read and write.
I completely agree with you, ma'am. Can you please switch on your webcam? I'm sorry, I can't see it. Yes, thank you so much. I agree, ma'am.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I do agree these are testing times, but we've also come a long way, like you said. Thank you for your insight into Croatia's education policies and system. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
May I now request Mr. Balagopal to shed some light on this matter. Sir, as Principal Ma'am has just told you, it has been 73 years since independence, but yet the government has to make jingles and attractive posters to spread awareness about literacy. Can you share your insight on how to overcome this and make people understand the importance of literacy, especially in the rural areas?
This is the question for me?
Yes, thank you, Ashaji and Mamta Mangu for inviting me for this August webinar. It was very interesting, especially Mr. Shailendra Sharmaji has given clearly. He indicated several issues, as well as Hira Bojwani also. I am not telling everything because I must.
Mr. Balgopal, you are not being heard. Please switch on your mic, please. Sir, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I have to repeat from the beginning. Ashaji, and Asha, I am grateful to Ashaji and Srimati Mamta Magu, and all others of the school. The school, the Bal Bharati School of Delhi. I have heard and have practiced the importance of your school and your commitment to the nation, and your children doing good, very good work in their video presentation. I noticed one thing. They have mentioned that each one teach one. This is a slogan preached and practiced by Swami Vivekananda. According to me, no government in the country or in the world can eradicate illiteracy, unless we eradicate illiteracy. No growth will be achieved. And in the COVID pandemic, also, why we are in the all the people are the more death is going on because of illiteracy. Why in the North India and other places the spread is more because of illiteracy. I am taking my state because I inherit a great man, Mr. P.N. Panikkar. He only made Kerala into a literate state in 1991. He has not gone to the government. He has mobilized the people with the people's support only. With the people's support, and of course, the government gave them umbrella support. The government gave him umbrella support. When he was speaking about this illiteracy and how to eradicate illiteracy, everybody was telling the sparkle because he organized Padayatras from Kasaragod, the northern tip of Kerala, to this what do you call this, near Kanyakumari, the Parashala, the southern tip. He organized several Padayatras. He made outreach program as successful. Only through outreach program and imbibing the principles and his what he called his methods of action. Each one teach one. He made Kerala the first literate state of the country, and because he started 4,000 odd libraries in the country, in the state, by going to traveling in through the 557 kilometers by foot. He may organize libraries with the people's support, not with the government, not with the government. That's why eradicating illiteracy is one of the major role of all the democratic government. In our system, in our recent education policy also, this has been given strength, and Gandhiji made it is a compulsory. And when Mr. Panikkar got the literacy award, named after what is called Krupskaya Award, the wife of Lenin, because Lenin has done miraculous work at Soviet Union. During the war, he asked his soldiers, sitting in the trenches, to teach each one. That's why Russia became, at that time, the Soviet Union was one of the strongest nation. After a lot of political changes have taken place. But the base of the Soviet Union's success is literacy. So in India, we have the statistics are different. So I won't appreciate the statistics, but I've seen. I'm a man going to the grassroots and meeting the people, and say I got access in the corridors of power also. But I am meeting the people and interacting with them. Now in the technological era, now we are the technology. Previously, we had to use slate and pencil or chalk, but now we have to use computer. Not even computer, our mobile phones, smartphones. According to the McKinsey, the IT giant, by 2022, 90% of the Indian villages will have internet connectivity. Once the internet connectivity is ready, we can practice literacy. We can practice online education. We can practice all type of educational methods. And according to me, the poorest of the poor, if he has got a thirst for knowledge, daha, if he has got thirst for knowledge, and if he has got digital literacy skill, he can access the best universities in the world, including Harvard, and get certificate diploma, degree, postgrad degree, doctorate degree, and moreover, life skill education, the need of the day, life skill education. Everything we require, our mindset has to be changed. The poorest of the poor has to be educated, and they have to be brought to the limelight by skilling them the literacy. Skilling the literacy. There, no government can do, only through people's participation, only through public contribution, we can make it. There, I have a request to the principal, Madam Asha Prabhakar, and your spare time, not yours, your children, your teachers, your spare time, their spare time, they must go to the villages. They must go to the villages and adopt the slogan of or Swami Vivekananda, each one teach one. They must teach them. The school children and the teachers and the parents, they should go to the villages, and Asha Prabhakar should lead it, because you are one of the leading schools in NCR. So you should you must take your children out, outreach program, educate them to small things. Because recently we have been tasked to do some programs in aspirational districts conceived by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, that we are going to the villages in Uttar Pradesh. I have traveled widely in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Orissa. Previously, it was called what they called Bimaru states of the country. Now I am not telling Bimaru states. There, we are practicing, and we have adopted a village. There, I have seen villagers. They don't have any cleanliness. They don't have water. Water is there, but they are not prepared to come forward to make it hygienic water. There are activities only through people's action. So they want literacy, skilling. Through literacy, they can be skilled. Because my father, Mr. P.N. Panikkar, I am inheriting him, and his day, his Remembrance Day, is celebrated as Day of Reading by the Government of India since 2 years, and from Government of Kerala for the last 25 years. Now the present Prime Minister has taken to the national level program, and there we are making small programs in the villages. They have been educated. They have been brought to the not school, informal schools. They are not taken to the formal schools. They are taken to the informal. Only through informal education, the poorest of the poor can be given literacy skill. And that is why I want people's participation. All the school, all the secondary school children and the teachers, I'm repeating, parents, should go to the villages and adopt a strategy that they will teach hundreds and hundreds of people. And they must write something. And after literacy, they can go for these neo-literates. To get the people getting literacy will be neo-literates. The neo-literates can be given skills also, so that they will start production. We want production. Only through production, micro enterprises, the country can prosper. And during this COVID period also, the government is very much focused on giving in skilling and upskilling, and giving providing micro enterprises with a heavy dose of soft law. Why? Because we have seen that China is considered to be the development wonder of the world. How? China has adopted the practice of, imbibed the practice of Mahatma Ji and Mr. Justice Krishna here. He used to teach me, my chairman, he used to teach me, Bal Gopal, you will see Gandhiji in China, because China, Gandhian philosophy of every home a production center has become a reality in China. Now we have become a consumer. We have become in India, we go for big things. No, we want small things. So that only through small things we can achieve big things. Micro enterprises, the literacy, the first literacy, the basic literacy, giving basic literacy, then give them skill literacy, and then what you call digital literacy. What we practice in UP, we go with smartphones, and according to the McKinsey again, 90% of the Indian population will have smartphones by 2022. Once you are getting smartphone, you are becoming smart in every respect. Through this smartphone, we are teaching them literacy with finger. With one finger, we are literacy because the slate, the Google slate, the Google slate is in the our gadget, this smartphone. With the Google slate, we teach them to how to write A like that. Then it will come as a printed letter. And now we are making women, especially we are focusing on women. Women, when they are seeing the advantages of technology, WhatsApp. Through WhatsApp, they are made more attractive to the education system. To formal, non-formal, this is all for normal, non-formal way. That's why I plead for non-formal education development for achieving growth of the country. And Narendra Modi ji has asked me during this 22nd our National Reading Month celebrations celebrated in Kerala. He came down to Kerala and he made an announcement that by 2020, he has given us a target that by 2022 we must reach 300 million population, 100% population, with the slogan "Read and Grow." Because reading is a first thing, reading and writing in a small way, not from, I again repeating, not with the conventional method of education, not with the government support, only through informal education. With the people's support, we can reach the unreached. And to that only, that's why we are pleading for our the government for the last 25, 30 years, is asking for universalization of education, where we have reached. You think aloud with the educators and the practitioners of higher education, what you have achieved. That we have to change. This Literacy Day, because the Panikkar, and I am repeating, that India got the first award. Mr. Panikkar was given the International Literacy Day on 1975 for the first time, Pushpaya Award for the best performing personality of the world. Because that is been heard. He has traveled. He has gone to the villages, gone to the hamlets of Adivasis. Then only there we have to give inspirations, and they have to be make it aware because of ill health. The health literacy has to be taught to them. And we used to say that literacy is the main illiteracy. Is not only literacy alone, the basic reason for what we call the poverty is a lack of health. Health is the basic, poor health is the basic reason for poverty. We have to eradicate poverty. How? Not by government. Government cannot do. Government can give you money through umbrella support. If you want to eradicate poverty, everybody should have digital e-literacy, health program, health literacy program. Everybody should be taught health literacy program to fight this COVID. Health literacy is a must. How they can survive, how they can make good habits through education and containing the COVID-19 pandemic. That I have seen in Kerala. I have to say with pride that Kerala, the death rate is the lowest because of education and literacy. During this this day, September 8th, we must not by celebration in the AC room or anywhere. We have to go to the field, go to the villages, go to the the people where poorest to the poorest stay, educate them, make small groups meetings, and then only we can achieve universal literacy, and we can only achieve universalized education, and we can go for a productive India. And that can be, a productive India can be achieved only through vibrant rural population. So we have to initiate action, not the government. All of us are responsible, especially school principals should take this forward. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving this opportunity to speak on this subject. And I am from the practical literacy man. Practical. We have to be practical, not with the theories and philosophies and what you call policies, etc. We should be practical. Thank you again for inviting me, Asha Prabhakarji and Mamtaji also, because Mamta, she worked for me in school, in what you called this our that reading month celebrations. Now we are fighting with a national level quit COVID, because it was initiated on 9th January, the Quit India Day, the Quit COVID program. We are going to the villages and educating them, and they have been given masks also. Poorest of poor. We are not going to the big buildings, the urban areas, to the poorest of the poor people in the rural areas. I've seen in UP, Bihar, Orissa. You must see. You might have got it. UP, Bihar, Orissa. They are not the children. They are all having mouth problems. They are having all the teeth or with some marker thing.
Thank you, Bal Gopalji. Mamta is our primary school librarian, and
Yeah.
she is constantly in touch with you, and she is going to be a part of all your initiatives. And on this note, as principal, I would like to thank you for giving us deliberations on the International Literacy Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rupa, please take over.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's really true that we have to reach out to people and go down to the grassroots level. You know, we have to be into action. That is the need of the hour. My next question is to Ms. Hiru Bhojwani. I would like you to answer this. Students in these days who have the privilege to gain education are keen ambassadors in shaping the future of the underprivileged children. Students of Bal Bharti were motivated to take up the Times of India challenge to make all the class 4 employees gain literacy and numeracy. It was indeed a fantastic move. The young children, they worked a lot. I would love to share on this platform that the ambassadors of the Interact Club of the school, as you just referred, sir, they were working ahead and they went far and beyond to implement the each one teach one philosophy. With reference to the above, Hiru ma'am, could you just suggest some activities to be taken up by children towards improving literacy in the society?
Thank you, Rumpa, and thank you, Mr. Prabhakar, and everybody on the panel for inviting me to this lovely platform. Thank you. And while thinking, I'm very impressed with the number of things that your students are already doing in partnership with other local students, people at the organization that you mentioned. And one of your school's motto is also teach one, help one, or whatever that says. It's the same thing. So looking at all of the things, I think Bal Bharti's school is doing a great thing by doing these partnerships at the grassroots level. They're reaching out to the students through CSR programs and every other program. What are the other activities? That was your question. And I would say that reading, simple reading with the children, holding activities, newspaper clubs, teaching graphic novels, writing, and just engaging with the children in every level is the meat of the hour. Even the social emotional learning curriculum that was initiated in Delhi was widely accepted and appreciated by many, many schools at the local schools. And I think all kind of partnership, any kind of engagement can be beneficial to the students. Even engaging with the children on play level through drawing art, which is now has developed into an AS after school program, even online, can be a great partnership that we can have with the local community. Having said that, I think language literacy is developed through partnerships, engagement, and the conversation literacy in English or any other language is learned through communication. And that kind of partnership will build relationship which can further deepen literacy among the society and among the school youth in India. And along with the conversational type of literacy, other kind of academic interaction, which will develop critical reasoning, critical thinking, communication, and creativity. All of the 21st century skills that we talk about, we need to walk the talk. And I think focusing on the skills rather than content, which is already laid down beautifully in the new education policy, I think would be very helpful. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
My next question is to you, Ms. Asha Prabhakar. With the introduction of RTE, 25 seats per class are reserved for the first generation learners, but their exposure to learning is limited, as their parents, in most of the cases, are not literate enough. As an educationist and a serving principal, what measures could be taken to spread literacy amongst them?
All right, a good question. As you all know that Bal Bharati group of schools have always welcomed RTE 2009. And as on date, this particular branch of Bal Bharati has 450 students. They are belonging to DG group, that is disadvantaged group, and they belong to EWS category also. But then there are many challenges. And these challenges, I would broadly categorize them into 4 parts. And the first and the foremost is the socio-economic and cultural challenge which we face on a day-to-day basis. Then the educational environment from where these children are coming at home, their respective homes is missing. Then over and above, the academic challenges are there inside the classroom. There are psychological challenges, which are non-academic challenges. We have to deal with them. And of late, digital education has also become a big challenge, with a few of them not even having mobile phones at home. And of course, as Mr. Balgopal said, that health literacy is also one of our major constraints. And however hard we try to teach them, preach them through teacher intervention and various other intervention programs, the success ratio, I will be very honest, is not up to at least my satisfaction. And over and above, there are no standardized bridge courses for the parents of these first generation learners. And in order to make literacy campaign a very successful campaign, I think in the last 2 years, we've started having bridge courses for these parents of first generation learners. And we've been able to get success that this year, one of our EWS students got some 88.6% marks. So I don't map it that way, the success of the school, but then it is very heartening to note that these children once have been given an exposure by the school and they're doing very well now. So I would attribute the success of the EWS children, the first learners that start off student community in our school, to the kind of teacher intervention and the kind of programs we've had. And through our challenges, we learned that, yes, we were able to teach them and preach them. And of course, I will not say that we've succeeded 90%, yes, but to an extent, we have succeeded in overcoming the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insight on this matter, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Mr. Shailendra, I have a question for you if you would like to answer, sir. It's in continuation to what Asha ma'am just said. Disadvantaged students are likely to have lost months of learning during this pandemic. As Mr. Balagopal highlighted, that poverty is the root cause of this problem. How can the government or educators help disadvantaged students catch up?
I think the strategy that Asha ji just explained is a way to go. There is no substitute to parental engagement. I mean, school has to be seen as an extension of home in certain aspect. And what has happened over the years is the way schools saw their role to be very aloof of family and the parents. So as a result, what happened was that there was a complete disconnect between the parent and the schools. At least in the government school segment, I can say that on the basis of how we saw that. And we also tried in Delhi government to bridge that gap by reintroducing parent-teacher meeting in a mega setup, by welcoming parents and explaining them what school is doing. And no matter how, it doesn't matter if the parent has not gone to school themselves. But if we have appropriate strategy to engage with them and to explain, you can always make them partner in the learning of children. And that is what we have done over the last 3-4 years, which actually came in very handy when we had to switch to this remote means due to pandemic, when the school had to be closed. Immediately we launched a remote learning program with the help of parents, sending IVR message to them, sending SMS, because we also factored that not many may have even access to smartphone. So as a result, using SMS, using IVR, we could reach out to parents, explain them what they can do with their children, so that the learning of the child in certain ways can continue. And some of the content that was sent mostly was in the realm of, say, the 4 things that you do in building literacy, which is like speaking, listening, reading, writing. So giving a task around those components, and with the help of parents, we saw that a lot of children were engaged with that. And we also had a weekly feedback setup where children would come on telephone calls and explain share with us what they did. So I think this pandemic has also given a big opportunity for the schools to reestablish the tie with the parents, which they must have thought to be not so important, or maybe just one of the things that needs to be done. And I think parents can be a real partner in the learning of children. And early literacy, particularly when the child is transiting from home to school, which is like the realm of emergent literacy, as the experts call. In that stage, if we make parents our partner, don't worry about the fact that whether they have themselves gone to the school or they can read or not, they can still play a very significant role in that. And we have seen that happening. So if we trust them, we support them, we respect them, and we give them a task to do with the child, the result is going to be very, the outcome would be great. And you would be multiplying your, the spread of your effort would be great. So I think that's a very important thing that has been our learning, and which can be useful as we go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I agree. The pandemic has also given us another way, or an alternative, to include the most important stakeholders in the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I can see a lot of questions coming up in the chat box, and the educators want to ask, but due to paucity of time, I'm sorry, we can take just a few questions. Question comes from Miss Mamta, and she's trying to say, I would like to address this to Balagopal sir, that could you highlight some of the measures taken to implement digital literacy and establishing e-libraries? How will the new NEP support this? In establishing e-libraries, how will the new NEP support this?
The national education policy did not support, because we are now on 19th of June, every day, we are celebrating Mr. Panikka's birth anniversary. In 1980, Government of India has initiated, not initiated, was in running 1,200 crore, 1,200 crores rupees was invested for digital libraries that you must see now. I can go to the website of the National Digital Library of India. Now, 480 crores of books and printed materials are available in the digital library of the world in 200 languages. And through that, we can learn literacy, digital literacy. But what we are practicing in North India, P.N. Panikkar Foundation has been tasked by the government of India to go to the villages and teach them literacy, digital literacy, through the usage of small gadgets, smartphones. But smartphones are not available in the, but according by, that is I mentioned, by 2022, the Indian villages, 90% Indian villages internet connectivity. But there, we are making them, we are inviting them. As our chief panelist, Mr. has mentioned, the PTAs, wherever the PTAs are more active, and there are in all the government schools, the results are the best. PTA, because when PTA is coming, what you called the parents are taking much interest in the children, and as well as giving more physical support, more infrastructure support to the school by getting donations and other things in the villages. So this digital literacy, what we are doing, what we are practicing it using the smartphone, bring them to the places where smartphone is working, and there we'll be teaching them with one finger they will write through the Google Slate RE. Then then they will have an interest in going for what is called WhatsApp, because one WhatsApp, they are seeing and enjoying WhatsApp. They will develop a desire to learn digital literacy and literacy as well, both. This is the way we are doing in UP, Bihar, and Orissa for the last 6 months, and other aspirational districts also. So it is an easy thing. There, I want people like Asha Prabhakar ji. Enter, he must instruct all school children from 7th, 5th standard to the graduate level. They must go to the field through the NSS, National Service Scheme. The National Service Scheme is doing a lot of good things. They must give instruction to school children that your outdoor work, your field work, your outreach programs will have will count your marks also. Your social upliftment, your what you want credibility will be measured through this. If you can give such orders, the children will go, invariably will go. They will go to the field and they will teach them. In Kerala, in Kerala, in 2015, we achieved 10% digital literacy in a village, remote village in Trivandrum. We sought the help of all NSS volunteers of the engineering colleges, because the engineering college students will have laptop of their door at that time, 5 to 6 years back, laptops of their door. So without much investment, they will go to the school, they will go to the field, and they will educate and they will skill the poorest to the poor with the access of the laptops. So without much investment, we could make this village digitally literate within a period of 62 days. That type of method, that type of action plan has to be adopted. Then the government will also come to you. It's not go to the government for funds. They will come to you. That system has to be adopted by the PTAs, headed by our, let us see, you are doing wonderful work. I've seen your performance also. This school, the Balbhardi school, under the dynamic leadership of our Asha Prabhakar ji, you take this challenge, and next year we can make a big difference in the villages around you. Please do it. And I think the mother's questions, all the points have been answered. Is it okay, Mamta?
Thank you very much, sir. It was very, very well answered. Thank you very much, sir. We are running into paucity of time, and I believe that was indeed a very enlightening session today, where once again we all learned and we understood the immense need for strengthening literacy and thereby education. Our respected panelists and educators all over the world are definitely doing their best to spread the light to everyone. And I'm sure this flame is going to keep burning, and literacy will definitely become a very, very good, great issue to address and definitely work ahead. I would now request Ms. Vinaya Pujari ma'am, Headmistress Junior Wing, to share her insight and mark the conclusion for today's event. Over to you, Vinaya ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. What I gathered from today's discussion is that literacy is at the core of human growth. Focusing on the basic literacy and numeracy at local level, we can achieve the 100% literacy goal in our country. Our perspective must be from micro to macro management. Let's pledge to take up the initiative, each one teach one, to one step further this year and encourage more and more people to participate in this drive. I sincerely thank our esteemed panelists, Mr. Shailendra, Mr. Balagopal, Ms. Hiru Bhojwani, Ms. Marina Maverick, and Ms. Asha Prabhakar for joining us today and providing valuable insight into the basics of literacy on the occasion of International Literacy Day. I also thank the audience for patiently listening to the discussion and putting forward some interesting questions. I will be failing in my duty if I do not mention the team that worked relentlessly for giving proper shape to this panel discussion. Thank you, everyone, once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I sum up, I would like to sum up this session on a very beautiful quote. And that quote is from Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon with which we can change the world. And on this note, as principal of the host school, I would like to thank the esteemed panelists once again, the insights which we got from our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to implement in our school. And once again, you educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman, you educate a generation. So we, the women teachers, a fleet of women teachers in the school, and promises to keep that, we keep educating fleet of generations in the coming years. This is the principal of the host school bidding you goodbye. And see you once again, the audiences on the Facebook, on the YouTube, and on the Zoom, approximately 500 plus, till we come back with Webinar 3.0 series. Thank you once again.
We thank everyone for joining us for today's session. Thank you so much.